Hi, and welcome back to History of Saps, Blackjacks, and Slungshots. Gonna focus on the Blackjack part here. We have a classic, and this is a vintage Bucheimer 8980. Bucheimer was an established leather goods maker that was probably the most prolific sap and blackjack maker in the 20th century. This one here is one of their more popular models. It's still recreated today, actually by custom makers. So that gives you an indication of its popularity, and it's pretty distinctive. An aficionado would look at this image and right away know that we're looking at an 8980. It was almost always in this brown and tan two-tone, which looks great, and had that real distinctive long lanyard. I say almost always in regard to the color scheme because it was offered in black, but you always see it this way, so who knows how many times people took advantage of that. And here you go, it's a very short weapon, even by our standards, as you can see. So it's a short weapon with a long lanyard. And that's part of the distinctive look on top of the color. And that actually served a function. The most memorable thing about this one is probably, again, that as I just showed, the size. This was like 6 inches and about 6.5 ounces. To put that in perspective, this entire weapon weighs less than just the load in many a sap and a blackjack. So how about that? It'll give you an indication of the power that this little guy could generate. That's pretty amazing, right? And it also highlights the utility and the ingenuity of this whole weapons family. The flexibility, the whipping motion, and the weighted head compensate for the lack of size. So this little thing here, this one really is little, is an effective impact weapon. You can replace a baton or a much larger weapon. There's the stamp, right, the 8980. And Bucheimer made a lot. I have a catalog from the 60s where the 8980 is one of them, and it's one of 16 blackjacks being offered on one catalog page. So there's the connection. As we've talked about, that loop there, that ring was not meant to be used in combat, but if you did a hammer fist motion with it, it could open up a nasty cut. It was not the design, but could be used that way. You can see some of the damage to this guy up close there, right, on the braiding. It's starting to loosen up, right? It's been a while. And let's get up here on the striking head again. Definite damage. This guy got held. It's a tiny load. It's really, really small. Since the whole thing only weighs 6 ounces, I don't know what the load weighs, but it's not very much at all. So again, it's about momentum. And I don't like handling this one too much, as you can see. And for that reason, I won't show the true intention behind that long lanyard. The way that would be used is you stick your thumb through it and then wrap it around your fist. So imagine it kind of going across the back of the hand, and that gives you a very secure grip. So you could really kind of choke up on this thing, you know, not choke down, actually, I should say, to provide as much leverage as possible, as much whip as possible, but still give you a really secure grip while in use. Here's the striking head. This thing looks really great when it's in, if you find one in vintage condition or a recreation, the two-tone is faded here. But remember that with a striking head like that, with the braided or plated leather, you could very easily get cuts, on your victim or your opponent. You can see there the difference. See, it's so small that you've got to really slide your hand back, and ideally you'd slide it much further back than that to use it effectively, because it's so tiny. If you grab it normally, if you will, then it just doesn't have a lot of room to swing. So there's that lanyard. Look how long that is. The other thing about this, I don't have any evidence of it being used this way, but could certainly be used in a flail fashion because it's so long, and that would maximize its impact for sure. Once you do that, though, you're really swinging a slungshot. I mean, all of a sudden it's a purely swinging, momentum-based weapon and not a club-like weapon. You have no instant recoverability. You can't jab. It really changes it completely, and that kind of use was not popular, from what I can tell at all, but it, without question, increases the force of the strike. And lastly, let's just do a quick comparison here with a couple of saps to give an idea of what this looks like up against another one. So the real standard blackjack, the convoy, you can see it's much longer, and keep in mind it weighs way more. It's like a 16-ounce weapon versus this 6-ounce weapon. Think about that again. Well designed to be able to provide the needed impact with such small dimensions. And then if you guys recall kind of our just sand club sap pigskin here, and it just dwarfs the 8980 completely, right? I could just hide it completely behind that. And that one's easy enough to carry in a pocket. That's kind of what it's designed for. So this one's even easier. So there it is, the Bucheimer 8980 Blackjack. Fondly remembered to this day, and kind of the Mighty Mouse of jacks. As always, thanks for watching.